So thank you so much for being with us today. I'm Laura Della Corte for Binge News. We are with Michael Cusumano, the director and writer, and Charity Schubert, the executive producer, actress, and also costume production designer. So I'm very thrilled to talk about the concept of historical value, and especially, Michael. Um, you are the director, and Charity, you have been working together on this project. So I would like to start off. Could you tell us how it feels to bring this story to one that is rooted also, in the 80s, we can say nostalgia, a feeling of nostalgia of the 80s, to such a club stage like Tribeca, and also how has your partnership evolved during this process? And let's start from the beginning for you and how it ended at the Tribeca.
I could say we're really thrilled to be showing the film at Tribeca, not just because it's such an incredible opportunity and such an incredible stage to be on, but to be on it with this film because you would do anything to get to like a place like that, but it feels great to be there with something that's so personal and so meaningful, and that we're so excited to share with people because so much fun of this and meaningfulness of this film is watching people react to it because it brings up all these emotions and all these memories that people didn't realize that they things they missed, things they didn't realize they wanted to talk about. Everyone wants to come and grab us after the everywhere we show it to talk about their childhood memories as related to the film, which, in case we haven't mentioned, is about childhood memories from the 80s of having waited to the last minute to do your homework assignment and having to scramble to get it done the night before with no internet. And everyone's got some version of that story.
And I would say, again, just echoing what Michael said, absolutely thrilled to be getting to share this story at Tribeca and the various other festivals that we've gotten into as well. It feels wonderful to be able to put this really thoughtful but fun story out into the world and watch people's reactions to it. As far as our partnership goes, this is our second film that Michael and I have made together. So we're getting quite into the groove of working together as director and screenwriter and producer and actress. We're also romantic partners as well, so that definitely gives us plenty of time together to work on our projects. But I feel like we've gotten to a really great understanding of each other's aesthetic, what we're about, and also a place of incredible trust. I know that as an actress, when I'm on set and I finally get to kind of switch out of producer mode, I can trust Michael fully to make sure that my performance is where it needs to be. He holds me to a very high standard. He doesn't, he's never going to let me give a good enough performance. He's going to always ask for the best. And that's such a wonderful feeling as an actor because you just get to relax and be the character and be in the moment. And you don't have to sit on your own shoulder and watch yourself because you know you have a director there that's gonna take care of you.
Yeah, this is amazing feeling, I think. And I think one of the things that was resonating the most with me for Last Minute is, aside from the historical value that it has, because looping back on the childhood memories, I think it's not simple, to show on one side the fact that there is this nostalgic vibe and this desire to create a world that actually doesn't exist anymore, and on the other side, also to tell a story that still remains emotionally relevant to the people that are watching, because even if the what around us has changed, the feelings that we have are almost the same. Like that is, the generation have different problems. The generation can have different problems. While we relate to the problems in a very, unique way that is similar in some ways. So I would like to ask you, how did you balance these two things? So the nostalgic vibe on one side, and also to be able to give the message that is still present today, like the
I
difficult,
think,
the
yeah, I
childhood
think there
memory. Yeah.
I think they're pretty much entwined, and I never wanted it to just be some kind of rose-colored glasses, like wasn't the past wonderful and just pure syrupy kind of just nostalgia trip. I always wanted it to be a little sharper than that. And in the writing of it, I realized I just had the idea about the homework, and I realized like, oh, kids today don't remember, what it was like in the 80s, but and so it started out as a very simple idea. But as I was writing it, I realized I was touching on all these bigger ideas about parenting and about community and about technology. And so I made sure to put some things in there that showed like it wasn't all great back then. Like they're struggling. There's some downer moments. They're like she just because she doesn't have like Wikipedia doesn't mean she doesn't try and take shortcuts. She's trying to get this done any way she can, and she'll cut some corners. The her mother character in the film. But even then, you can see that the fact that just everybody without the technology of today is forced to interact with each other just naturally became what the film was about. The way you reached out to community, the way the mother-son bond was tested. These are all things that, without me even having to say it, draws comparison to today. So I was in the writing, I was in a very enviable position where I didn't have to be heavy-handed at all about like the message of what we may have lost to our modern technologies because you can't help but draw the comparison. You could just you watch the film and you're like, oh, none so much of that wouldn't have happened today. And you can just kind of let the story and the characters take charge and just get that as truthful and as honest as I can without having to, put my thumb on the scale to be like, oh, wasn't this wonderful? Wasn't that sweet? Don't we remember this time period? It begs the comparison all by itself. So my idea was let the nostalgia, let the 80s just recede into the background and be this thing we kind of a mood that we accept and let the characters take the foreground because if we care, then the message will take care of itself.
I really enjoyed watching younger people respond to this film as well. Of course, folks 40s and over are going to remember the 80s very well, and they're all going to have a connection to that. But even people who either don't remember the 80s because they were too young or weren't even born yet have resonated with this film as well. And I think that really speaks to the universality of the themes in it. And they're also sort of fascinated by this, before times, before the internet. So I think this film has a really great universal appeal, and that's because Michael struck that balance so well in the writing of it.
Yeah, and the relationship also between Jackie and Jason is very emotional. There is a big chemistry between you two, and I would like to ask you how was working with Hespen in the first side, and also the fact that you, Charity, you wear a lot of hats during the yeah, in this production. Yeah, you have this kind of costume designer that is taken by you. So how did you do the research of that, like to make it authentic and honest? Because it's not simple to find it, even if you look at old films or TV series. Uh, Even in that kind of mood, there is a little bit of stereotypes, we can call it. I don't know, maybe it's not the right word, but it felt very authentic, not too much studied. And
There's definitely some cliches and some very obvious like error signifiers you could go to with the fashions and the music or the props and all that 80s stuff. And we both agreed that we didn't want any of that in the film.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I wanted it authentic. Am old enough to remember the late 80s. And when you start researching 80s fashion and things, the first images that come up are high fashion or things in catalogs that were for sale, idealized images in magazines. You're not seeing real life. So I went out of my way to search the internet for snapshots, candid photographs of people, just a picture of a woman in her kitchen on the phone, sitting at the kitchen table, like people's family photos that
Okay.
had been
Okay.
uploaded to the internet. Also, yearbook photos. I found a lot of yearbook photos from the late 80s to see, what kids were wearing. I did look at catalogs to see the like lower end catalogs, like Sears was a really, really great resource, the Sears catalog, to see what average middle class to lower middle class people were actually wearing. Because the image that we have in our mind of the 80s is very different from what people actually looked like in day-to-day life. So I was very, very cognizant of that. I purchased vintage as much as I could. I found lots of things on eBay and Etsy and thrift stores and vintage shops here in New York City. So a lot of what you see on camera is actually vintage from the late 80s. I also found just like, modern pieces that were kind of timeless. Like a little boy's t-shirt that, could have
Yeah,
been from the era. So it's a blend of current and vintage. But I had some really great finds that I was so thrilled to find, that just felt right for the characters. And that was kind of what led me the entire time with costume choices, was what would this person wear? What is right for this character? And as opposed to what is that 80s look? And I think if you're starting from that place, you can't go wrong.
and how
I
did you?
we
Yeah, sorry. Go on, go
so
on.
go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say we never wanted there to be a moment where you cut to somebody and there's a big laugh because they're wearing some big 80s
Mm.
thing like the slanted sunglasses or like some
Yeah,
kind of glittery Michael Jackson glove. We always wanted it to just be there and be believable. And if you went looking in the frame for period details, you could find it, but that was never going to be the joke or the point.
of course. Yeah, and how did you build the relationship with Jason on the set? How did you cast the process of cast? If you have already in mind to choose him, or it was later on? How did
So
you?
I'll let I'll let Michael speak to the casting process, and then
Okay.
I'll talk a little bit about what it was like actually working with him on set.
The two things that I was most concerned about when we decided we were going to do this script was could we believably build up the production design and can we find a kid who could play this part because it is a role. It is a character. It's not just like a kid in a commercial where it's the quote unquote the kid and he doesn't have a personality and you just kind of position him like a model. He's a very active character and he has a very kind of textured relationship with his mother that's kind of distinct. She's a single mom, he's an only child, so they have a casualness with them that you don't see, like it's not like a sitcom mom who like talks down to the kid. And so we needed somebody who could do that. And I was ready to look at 100 kids because I'm like, this is an acting job. It's not just it's going to be challenging. And we auditioned one person, and he did so well on the audition. We were like, I felt like I was driving the first car off the lot. Like, am I being silly? This is it. This is the kid. And I was second guessing myself, but it was just we all looked at each other, me and Charity and our other producer Melissa, and we're like, no, this is the kid. He's just perfect. Besides the fact that he looks like the spitting image of her, which was an absurd bonus. How much he just looks like her from that time period with a boy's haircut. He just came in and nailed it. Our producer found him in a local production in Shreveport, Louisiana, of Mary Poppins, and he wasn't even one of the main like he wasn't even one of the main Banks children. He was in the background dancing like as a chimney sweep. I think I saw a picture of him like as a chimney sweep, and she said he popped and he had such great presence on stage. She just reached out to his mother and said, "Would he like to try a movie?" It was his first movie ever. He's only done theater. He loves theater,
Wow.
and we just put the two of them together and he took right to it. He's for a 12-year-old boy, he was very serious about acting. He was very prepared. He learned the script, and I could tell like he didn't just learn his lines, he like thought about it, which was I had to do very little work with him. I came in all loaded to bear with all kinds of like tricks and games, and we're gonna play, and we'll do like 20 takes of everything, so he doesn't feel any pressure, and he can try every different emotion, and we'll just get something later in editing that'll work. And I didn't have to do any of that. He was just locked in right with her, and he was just within minutes on set. He was just another actor, and I would just talk to him like all the adults. I would just go in and give him a note and be like, I think you're a little angry with your mom here, so maybe play it a little angrier. And he got it, and he got everything in very few takes, and we would just hit the jackpot.
Yeah, Espen was an absolute joy to work with. He was more prepared and professional than a lot of adults that I've worked with. And to build that relationship, like I said, we cast him. We had him do a self-tape for the audition. Then we did a Zoom callback. He's based in Louisiana, and we're up here in New York City. And he was just so fantastic at the callback. We just offered him the role right there. And then we did a series of Zoom rehearsals, which went a very long way toward getting that Jason Jackie dynamic down with, Michael there directing us. So that was hugely helpful. Then when we arrived in Louisiana for shooting, we went out with Espen and his mother, Sarah, just the four of us, and we had dinner. And it was really great to get to kind of prepare him for set and tell him what to expect, answer any questions, and just build that rapport. And he's just such a joy to be around. He's a very precocious, sweet, incredibly well-raised child. So he was just really great to spend time with. And then on set, it was effortless, honestly. The Jackie Jason mother-son dynamic, as Michael mentioned, is not the typical mother-son dynamic. She's a single mom, so she kind of has to do it all. She has to be the mother and the father and the nurturer and the disciplinarian. So that means that she doesn't talk to him the way most mothers would speak to their children. She talks to him more like a little adult, like they're partners in crime. The father isn't in the picture, so I imagine that there was a point at which she, just turned to this kid and was like, "All right, it's me and you, buddy." So that worked perfectly for me. I'm not a mom, so I talk to like my nieces and nephews and my friends' children more like they're little adults. So that was very easy for me to access. And Espen is so mature and precocious, it just worked beautifully. That relationship just kind of fell into place, and it was fun. It was fun acting opposite him. I didn't have to, temper or, worry about him being a kid. I just did my best to make it fun and playful between takes and keep just relaxed. And it was an absolute joy. We could not have asked for a better actor.
Fantastic. And I don't know if it's my personal point of view of the film, but I think one of the most touching aspects that I found is how the film is, how it puts from a stressful situation, like a last minute school project, to actually something that strengthens the community bonds and also force a little bit the character to reach out to other people, to neighbors, to friends, to, and, know-it-alls, kind of, like asking for help to people who think you are wiser than you. And this was very strange for me to see in a story, because like you said, I think it's not only the presence of the internet that changed that, but also the fact that it's becoming more difficult for people around me even to communicate with each other, because we tend to ask for something without asking for something. You know what I mean? Like I'm just putting words there to make you understand that I want something, but I'm not asking you what I want
Hmm.
directly,
Yeah.
or you know. And so I found this feeling that you put down with the last minute thing that was gaining a lot of this essential human connection, but really is also about communication. I think like this what was my personal point of view. I don't know if it's something that you wanted to put the spot on.
It's not, no one has ever put it like that before, and I really love that you say that, because that's interesting that you took that from it. And it is part of it. The communication and just the fact that you're forced to be, you're just all the things that naturally grow out of being forced to engage with other people, with family, with friends and community, is something that it's great to see in this context, because it's a very comedic, very fun context, but you it does bring up these themes in a way that you kind of can't miss. And there was also, I mean, one of the initial idea I had when I first jotted down the idea was, this kind of this bygone thing, like do kids remember what it was like? But also the structure of it, I wanted it to be that it would start out as this thing that it was a huge pain, obviously, for everyone involved. Like no one wants to spend their evening doing this, but it would grow into something where they were having fun despite themselves at one point, because you just it becomes like a game. Find all the different informations, and it becomes, you can't help but get into it, and all the adults start having a good time. And my guiding principle when I wrote it was that it was going to be no fun at the time. For the most part, it was going to be a huge inconvenience, but that when this kid grows up to be my age, he's going to remember this night, and it's going to be a great memory when he's thinking about his mom when he's an adult, he's like, "This is I remember that night when we all had to run around trying to find information about plutonium." And you talk about the community. We had two. I brought in the two wonderful actors that I haven't mentioned yet, Mariah Hicks and Donovan Rowe, who played her friend and her brother, the know-it-all. Because you think about the technology, but we've also lost the idea of the know-it-all because that used to be a thing we had before everyone was a know-it-all with their phone. A guy who just had a lot of trivia and you had to call him. But so that's a wonderful thing to see. But it's also the fact that those actors are so wonderful that they could just break off and have their own. It becomes their own little side film right in the middle about this. She calls her friend from the work, and the friend from work has to call the brother, and it just becomes about them. And this one homework assignment has now affected the brother-sister relationship in this way that is going to have a lasting impact on them as well. So, and there's also later in the film, she's on the phone late at night with her friend, and they're not, and you talk about communication and trying to find a way to talk to people, and you realize they're not on the phone with each other because she no longer needs anything from her directly, but now they're just talking because they just wanted to, share the moment together, and she was just checking back in, and they're just up and communicating and kind of having that thing where you get very deep and honest late at night. And all this just is a natural byproduct of having to engage with everybody.
Yeah, I think technology is wonderful, but everything comes with a cost. And the technology that we have today, like you said, does sort of put us in a position of being more independent and somehow more reluctant to communicate. We have more ways of communicating than ever before, and yet we do less of it. And like Michael mentioned, the late night phone call between Jackie and Georgia leads to an astonishingly vulnerable and intimate moment between those two friends. And that really is something that I think we have lost, that willingness to be that vulnerable on the phone or, face to face is something that we can kind of hide behind through text messages and, DMs and things like that. So I think that was a really beautiful moment that Michael wrote into the script, and I know I certainly loved playing that scene.
I have two last questions. I think we have enough time. So one is about the thing that, independent filmmaking is often about, turning obstacles into opportunity. And I know that like the 80s car that wouldn't start on the morning.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask you, how did these, unplanned moments have shaped a little bit the story? And if you have,
Oh, yeah. I
have
mean, we throughout the film, I had one idea that I wanted to film, and it was very elaborate and very expensive, and I was like, I'll put that off till maybe next film, and I'll do this other one about the homework because that'll be easy. It's in living rooms, and it's a small cast, and we'll just sprinkle some 80s details, and it'll be easy. I'm like, oh boy, it wasn't easy. Everything was so hard because they're running everywhere, and every time they run a new place, that place has to look perfect. And every time you move the camera an inch, everything it sees has to be perfect. It has to be in 89. I just didn't realize how old I was because 89 is a long time ago. And we did reach one point, which was a crucial scene. My producer even suggested we could cut this because it's going to be really challenging. I'm like, we can't cut it because the mom has to try to go to the bookstore. If she doesn't leave the house, the audience is not going to be on her side because she didn't try hard enough. You have to run out and try and throw money at the problem, as she says. And so like we have to go do this. We can't leave it out. And then I found a car that wasn't exactly the right period, but certainly looked like the right period. And not only that, it was perfect for her character. So we're like, oh, jackpot. And of course, it was from 1989. So on the morning of the filming, it just didn't start. She was on the phone trying to get a tow truck to drag it to set. And I'm over there with my cinematographer, hastily rewriting the scene. She's supposed to like pull up, screeching outside the bookstore, honking a horn, saying, "Don't close, don't close." And I'm like, so we had to rewrite it using this big stretch of sidewalk that we weren't even supposed to see. And I'm like, just checking that there's no like iPhones or Wi-Fi signals or, where you could, that would give us away. And so we had to rewrite the scene to not have the car and make it so we could find film stuff that will all pass for period. Like Teslas are going by in the background every time that happened. It's a big long shot. We're like, cut, no, no good. It's a modern, anytime a modern car went by on the street, had to cut. And then right when we were finally ready to go, a train, just like a freight train went by for 20 minutes. And this is the only part of the script that's set to be at a specific time of day. It has to be like late evening because they're late. The bookstore's closing. And I'm like, oh, that train's gonna go by. And the people from Shreveport just looked at me sadly like, no, man, that's gonna be a while. Just thundering past. And so the part about turning this around, because everyone, I'm like pouring sweat, trying hastily rewriting, and the part that worked out was one. It was much better without the car, just to see them running in the street. It's like in the trailer. It's like the heart of the film. It's like the image of the film is her running to the bookstore, and it's such a great moment. And the other thing was for the actors, I felt like there was such panic in that moment that we were going to get this that they didn't have to do a lot of acting. I felt like they didn't have to look far for motivation. It was right there because we were like mirroring the emotion of the characters because it was just like, oh, we're out of time. We have to get this. We have to get it in very few takes. And boy, just to go back to an earlier thing, talk about Espen being a good little actor. He is doing like a 1 minute unbroken take coming around the corner where he has to hit certain lines at certain spots and then run and do action. And not only that, he has to have comedic timing with with Charity. And he didn't do one bad take. So out of everything going wrong, we did kind of get one of our favorite moments in the film, which does kind of mirror the whole point of the film is like things that are, horribly painful in the moment can turn out to be wonderful memories.
This is so cool. And my last question is about the fact that the Tribeca screenings coming up on the 6th of June and the 13th, I think.
Yes.
So after the success you have already achieved, what do you hope New York audiences will receive from the story of Jackie and Jason's journey, and what do you
Well, I
expect?
can just
Do you expect something?
I expect everyone to be able to relate to it. That's what I expect because that's been happening at every screening, like I said. What I hope people take from it, and I'll try to be brief about this, is not to say that all modern technology is bad or nothing as simplistic as that,
Yeah.
but just to be, as Charity was saying earlier, be conscious of the price of what we're giving up because we get these wonderful new technologies and they make so much of life easier and you don't realize at the moment what the price is, what you're paying for it. And that's why it's helpful to look back 35 years and see like, oh, I didn't realize that I'm never, that all that is gone, and I didn't agree to that. Do I intend to do that? If you look at something like just any technology, like movie streaming channels, it's so wonderful. We have all these all like I would have killed when I was a kid to have all the
Yeah.
movies in the world available to me. I'm like I could just watch every Kurosawa film. I could just watch every Scorsese film and just it'll be in my living room. But then you look around, you'd be like, oh, I haven't gone out to the movies with my friends for a year. And then I watch all the films and there's nobody to talk to about the thing I just watched. And I'm kind of just stuck in my own head. And it's lonely and it's not as rewarding. Did I agree to that? Do I miss that? What's the value that I've given up? And that's what I would like I want people to have a good time and I want people to laugh and think of their mom and think of their childhood. But after that, I would like them to say like, I should think about the things that I'm agreeing to without knowing it.
Yeah.
For me, I would like folks to take away an appreciation for all the parents who are the ones who show up. There were a tremendous number of divorces in the 1980s, so a lot of my generation comes from divorced families, lots of single moms, single dads as well. And in those situations, there is often just that one person, the one parent who is there at 2 a.m. doing the project, dropping off at school, making the lunches. And I'd just like people to think about and have a little deeper appreciation for how hard that is and what that means to be the person who shows up.
It's true. Charity, Michael, it's been a pleasure really talking about Last Minute with you. And I hope all the best for the project because I really enjoy watching it. And it was such a surprise, to see a story like that because it's very genuine, honest, and something that really I didn't expect like to see. So thank you so much, really. And I will
Thank you.
let
It's
you
been
know.
really wonderful talking to you.
Yeah, thank you for having us on. We've really enjoyed this.
Thank you so much, really, and all the best. Hope it's a big chance to see at the Tribeca, really. Finger crossed.
Yes.